Welcome to European Railway issue number 37. In this programme, a visit is made to rural Poland to view diesels in action. A look at the Mainline west of Salzburg, French traction through the Saverne gap, Swiss local and industrial train activity, a visit to Germany's Elbe Valley, a brief stopover at Capier, close to Calais, and a look at endangered electrics at work in Belgium. There are around 4 locations in Poland where diesel locomotives are in widespread use on lines which are busy but not electrified. One such area is southeast of Lublin, around Zamosc. In this section, we take a look at standard gauge activity during the summer of 2009. We begin with something you can no longer see: passenger trains. Most of these were withdrawn from the area at the end of the summer 2009 timetable change in favour of bus substitution. Freight locomotive number SN48064 passes with this service for Belzec. Freight locos were a common sight on passenger services. Here, the 1336 from Zamosc to Wojciech departs behind another SM48 diesel. Locomotives used in the area are usually the ones based out of Lublin Shed. Freight traffic in the area comprises mixed cargo as well as block trainloads of coal and oil. Here, 1984 built ST44 number 1069 heads west with an evening train from Zamosc. A few kilometres from Zamosc, an S-bend in the track formation provides for an excellent photographic vantage point. Here, this eastbound train has ST44-2023 in charge. Interestingly, this locomotive is part of the number series of 50 similar broad gauge locomotives used on the LHS route, and we can only assume that it has received a set of standard gauge bogies for normal network use, but without losing its LHS operating number. This is the only loco in the LHS subclass that we know of in this condition. The late afternoon at Saverne sees a host of ST44 diesels in action. Recently refurbished ST44-1223, one of 13 examples currently in operation at Lublin Shed, heads north on the single track line up to Zulin. Coal traffic remains the dominant product moved along the standard gauge lines. Here ST44862 and SM48084 head such a train near Verziniec. Private operator PTK IGK also work along this route. Here, one of their 5 Class 232s pilots a T448P shunting loco. The shunter is similar to the Czech Republic Class 740. There was just one passenger train each way per day when we visited the line. The depot at Zamosc is home to the LHS fleet of diesel locomotives, as well as being a standard gauge subshed of Lublin. This view inside the shed shows locomotives undergoing maintenance, whilst outside a number of long-term withdrawn locos await the call to the breakers yard, or in the case of the ST44s, a probable rebuild into Class ST40 for further use on the LHS. The ST-44s in use in Poland have been threatened with complete withdrawal for a number of years due to their insatiable appetite for consuming fuel, making them very expensive to operate. However, with the lack of alternative traction, their use on rural lines such as this will continue for the foreseeable future. The SM-48 are also known as Class TEM2 and are found all over the country. PKP Cargo has around 120 left in traffic, with another 300 or so in use with private operators. Being the summer, the daily train to and from Belzec turns out many freight locos. Recently outshopped in the latest PKP cargo livery is Lublin-based SM42 number 577. There are few areas in Europe left where diesel traction dominates on the trains to be seen. This part of Poland is one such place where the lack of overhead wires makes for a pleasant change. Finally, we leave you with the unmistakable sound of a Sulzer engine hard at work. We now move to the neighbouring country of Germany and to the main line which forms a route between Munich and Austria. It is in the extreme southeast of the country that we sample trains on the line that skirts the northern part of the Alps between Rosenheim in the west and Salzburg in the east. The date is 21st of July 2010 as we see Class 111 number 159 heading one of the hourly stopping services from Munich to Salzburg. The Class 111s are an endangered species in this part of Germany, as brand new electric multiple units are waiting in the wings. Through services from Austria also operate along this line. Here, a railjet intercity service from Vienna to Munich passes with 1216-210 in charge. This is 1116-261 with a Eurocity service for Vienna. During our stay, there was one local stopping service each way per hour, up to 3 intercity services, and around 2 freights each way per hour. This is 185051, seen at the village of Jan. A kilometre further east and 111027 is in charge of this train from Salzburg to Munich. This is train EC 115, the 0631 from Münster to Klagenfurt, headed by 101008. Slightly to the west of our last location, we see 185238 on this mixed freight for München North Yard. The time is just after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It is just possible to see the Alps from here. This is the view looking towards Berchtesgaden. (111.021) drifts down the grade with train RE 30021, the 1446 from München to Salzburg. Finally, heading east is 185535 on this trainload of finished cars. This altogether unassuming main line is actually busier than meets the eye and is well worth a visit. The Vosges mountain range that runs along the eastern border of France close to Strasbourg is a natural barrier for transportation systems. In this section, we take a look at one of the few railway lines that cut through this picturesque and heavily forested area close to Saverne, also known as the Saverne Gap. The line sees frequent TGV activity now that the first section of the TGV Est line has been built. Here a pair of TGV Réseau sets, numbers 546 and 549, head east through Stambach with a train for Strasbourg. Local services see Class Z11500 EMUs in operation. The opening of the second section of high-speed line to Strasbourg will see the majority of TGVs come off this route in 2015. Intercity services on the route between Nancy and Basel are local hauled, usually with BB27000s. This is 26151 with train EC91 from Brussels to Zurich. The hills in the area rise to almost 400 metres above sea level, and against this backdrop we see one of the roughly hourly freight services that pass through the area behind Tri-Voltage 37012. freight traffic is just a fraction of what it was, say, 10 years ago, when it dominated this line. Now 1 an hour is meagre pickings in comparison. Dual voltage 22295 is seen heading east at just after 1 p.m. This is a good example of how the Saverne gap looks. On the extreme right is the Canal de la Marne, at the bottom of the valley is a local road, and the railway runs along to the left. Approaching Lutzelbourg is this TGV Réseau set, with a working for Strasbourg. To the west, close to Arzweiler, we see Eurocargo Rail G2000 loco number 602 heading east. Running wrong line, we see 27053 heading an eastbound freight. And here we have a pair of world record breakers. Power cars from TGV set number 4402 reached an amazing 574.8 km per hour, or a little over 357 miles per hour, on the new TGV S line on 3rd of April 2007. Here they glide past the camera heading for Paris. One of the most famous photographic spots on the line is here at the Tunnel de Arzweiler, where rail and canal parallel each other. Finally, a class BB27000 heads north with a train from Basel to Nancy. We now pay a brief visit to Switzerland and to the industrial centres situated on the BLS line from Solothurn down to Burgdorf. The line was recently operated by the regional Werke Mittellandbahn until a takeover by BLS. The line is single track, except for a short section between the stations at Biberest and Gerlafingen, where we decided to film. Services on the line are operated by ex-Mittelbahn Class 566 electric units built in 1974. Here set number 222 arrives at Gerlafingen with the 0636 from Solothurn to Burgdorf. There are numerous large paper, chemical and steel producing factories in the area, which generate significant amounts of railborne traffic. Most of the railheads have their own shunter, such as this example of 1966 built EM837 operated by Cirsa, which is seen here going about its early morning business. The local passenger trains run every hour each way. Class 566 number 225 heads for Solothurn. This MAK Type G1203, sporting number 0273006, dates from 1983 and is operated by Gerlafingen Steel Limited and has just finished shunting in their yard behind the factory in the background. We now move around a kilometre north to the station at Biberest, where we see a service for Solothurn arriving. In the right background is the Gerlafingen Steelworks. Leaving the paper works, located just to the north of the station, is SAPI-operated EM837 shunter number 819. This loco was built by Henschel in 1962 and is also known as type EM331. Finally, we see this Class 566 unit arriving with a stopping service for Bergdorf. In this section, we travel back to Germany and to the picturesque stretch of railway that runs beside the River Elbe, southeast of Dresden and down towards the border with the Czech Republic. The line is one of the principal routes linking the ports in the north of Germany with Central and Eastern Europe. We begin our journey at the station at Krippen, before we move north along the river to eventually reach our destination of Kurort-Raten. Our first scene shows one of the S-Bahn services that runs between Schmilke-Hirschmühle and Meissen. Motive power on these is always a Dresden Class 143 electric. On this occasion it is 143562. After a short stop, the train departs for Bad Schandau. The main station building can be seen here, whilst across the river can be viewed the passenger lift, built in 1904 by Rudolf Sendig, which takes people from the floor of the valley up to a height of 50 metres, from where they can access an area above the cliff face. Freight traffic was judged as being around 2 trains each way per hour, hauled by a variety of different locomotives. In this view, a pair of Czech cargo Class 372 electrics, number 11 and number 8, which are used extensively on this route, head north to Bad Schandau. Some other Czech motive power here in the shape of a Class 810 diesel railcar, forming the 0721 departure for Daikin. These services operate to a 2-hourly frequency. Class 371 also appear, this one having arrived with a northbound freight. Bad Schandau acts as an exchange point between the German and Czech networks, with around half of the cross-border trains changing motive power here. BB27000 and 008 are seen again after they have been uncoupled from their train. The Class 189 seen on the left will take over this service. Sister Loco number 371004 arrives with the overnight service from Amsterdam to Prague. We travel north once more and to the Ducks here at Königstein. This is a popular tourist resort famous for its castle, which sits on the hilltop overlooking the town. The railway here is carried on a low viaduct adjacent to the river banks. The castle dates from around the year 1240 and is an important Saxon monument in the area. Until recently it was used as a state prison. It was regarded as a castle from the mid-1300s, when it used to belong to the kings of Bohemia, before passing to the Dukes of Saxony in 1408. During the two world wars, it served as a prisoner of war camp, known as Oflag, and as can be seen here, it dominates the landscape. 372007 is seen coming to a stand just north of the town with a southbound mixed freight. Heading north through the elevated station is 371201, powering the 0629 Eurocity service from Prague to Berlin. Not far from the station is a ferry that crosses the river on demand. Here it sets off for the eastern bank. The nearest road crossings from here are south at Bad Schandau, around 4 kilometres away, or north at Purne, a distance of around 15 kilometres. The castle at Königstein has never been taken, being regarded as impenetrable by its owners. It's not difficult to see why. This is 189005. As the train disappears from view, it is passed by Austrian Railways Class 1216-226, one of 10 locos from this class fitted with the Czech train control equipment. The loco works train number EN476 from Budapest to Dresden, before returning south on this train, number EN459, which takes a roundabout way from Zurich via Frankfurt and Dresden to Prague. As far as we know, it is the only train that brings an Austrian loco to this stretch of line. Our next location is around a kilometre south of Oberraten, as we see 143654 heading back north, bound for Meissen. This location is a favourite for photographers, where the farmhouse to the left of the picture offers a good backdrop. This is 371004 heading Eurocity train EC171 from Berlin to Budapest. Of the Elbe sandstone mountains. Today it is a popular tourist area, where there are over 14,000 mountain climbing routes, where climbers can conquer over 1,100 different rock faces. 189204 adds yet more variety as it heads south on grain hoppers. Our final scene comes from the station at Kurort-Raten as 143157 glides to a stand with an S-band service from Meissen. Note the sandstone cliffs in the background. A short stopover at Caffières in July 2009 allowed us to sample freight and passenger traffic in an area just a few kilometres from the Channel Tunnel entrance at Calais. There are a number of rail-connected quarries in the area, with trains operated by Eurocargo Rail, a subsidiary of DB, and VFLI, a company operated by SNCF. The main line from Calais to Boulogne forms the principal rail route in the area. Our first scene shows a Z24500 3-car TER2N unit heading for Boulogne. TGV Réseau set number 72 is operating this service to Paris. Eurocargo Rail Class 66 number 66191 is seen taking a set of hoppers down to the quarry at Ilangon. Since their introduction to France, the class have been a daily visitor here, although some of their duties are now being taken over by ECR's Class 77s. This ex-Eurostar set, number 3227, has now been repainted into the TGV standard livery for use on French domestic services. Our final section comes from Belgium, where the reason for our trip is to capture on film some of the remaining 1950s and 1960s era electrics currently in everyday operation. The introduction of new Trax Class 28 and the imminent arrival of Class 18 will spell the end for many of these old workhorses. Our first location is at the country station at Marche-les-Equisines, as we see two of the endangered Class 26 electrics powering the 1518 from Louvain to Barche. Numbers 2634 and number 2626 on the rear provide the power. In the opposite direction are two Class 23s, which officially do not have any freight diagrams left, only peak hour passenger duties. However, they do still appear on freight, and these two, numbers 2316 and 2357, head north prior to working a freight back to Charleroi. The line sees an hourly all-station stopping service from Braine-le-Comte to Charleroi. Forming one such service is this Class AM73 unit, recently refurbished and rebuilt as part of the Brussels City Rail project. Here's a reminder of days gone by, with this station cafe sign on the side of a nearby house. We now move to our second location at the town of Lutre, which is close to Pont-à-Celle, on the 4-track line north of Charleroi. Here we see a joint departure featuring an AM73 unit and Class 27 electric number 2738, which is working an Amsterdam to Charleroi service. The date is Friday 24th of July 2010. Class 27 generally work through here on line ICI trains formed of push-pull M6 rolling stock. The future for the Class 27 still remains uncertain, as the loco plus Class M6 stock combination is not entirely a success. It will be interesting to see if these locos remain on their present duties or are completely replaced by the new Class 18 locos being delivered by Siemens, of which 60 are on order. At the south end of the station we see this pair of Class 23s on an oil working. A heavy downpour and late evening sun make for some great lighting effects. It was a shame though that a raindrop or two landed on our lens. One interesting statistic is that between them, these two locos have now been in traffic no less than 110 years. As mentioned earlier, Class 26 are mainly found on freight duties. Here 2610 departs for Châtelet with loaded steel slabs. The class are expected to be the first to be withdrawn when the Class 18 arrive in large enough numbers. The recent downpour has created this rainbow as a Class AM73 arrives in the golden light from the Charleroi direction. Finally, the three Class 77s which we saw earlier returned to Monceau Yard with this loaded steel train from the works at Les Louvières. Once again, we hope that you have enjoyed watching this edition of European Railway.